Welcome to FailCraft, a podcast where we dive into the messy, real side of success and explore how setbacks become the stepping stones for growth and clarity. I am your host, Ezekiel, and today's guest is K. A. Oliver, a storyteller who spent 30 years in Hollywood navigating a system that often told her no. As a screenwriter and producer, she faced studio executives who dismissed her female-driven stories as unmarketable. But her biggest battle wasn't in a boardroom. It was a diagnosis of breast cancer that arrived the very week she lost her job. But instead of letting these dual blows silence her, she reinvented herself entirely. She is now the 2025 Fiction Author of the Year with over a dozen award-winning novels that proves these executives wrong. She's here to share how she turned professional rejection and personal trauma into a prolific second act. So, Kay, it's an honor to welcome you to FieldCraft. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Great to have you here. So let's dive in, Kay. Your transition from Hollywood veteran to award-winning novelist is quite inspiring, but it was forged in fire that most people really can't imagine. You mentioned that the week where you were diagnosed with breast cancer was the same week you lost your job. So can you take us back to that specific week? What did it feel like for you? What was the very first thought that went through your mind those periods?
Yes, I had the diagnosis and then conveyed that to my bosses and was then let go. That was my sole income and also my insurance. So it was fearful. It was a very fearful time of wondering how I was going to make it because knowing that I would have to do chemo and radiation, trying to find a job that would pick you up during this time is nearly impossible, which I did not. And though many people said, "Oh, you should, sue your employer," it was either fight for my health or fight in court. And I decided that they weren't worth it. And my friends and my brother were there to support me through the painstaking treatment and recovery. And I have been cancer free for 17 years. So I learned that experience taught me one, if you've gone through something that dramatic, your priorities change. You're right. You only fight the battles you need to fight. You're not going to waste your energy on those that are irrelevant. And I've started to truly, truly believe and trust myself that I would do whatever it takes to survive and continue. And those were the key elements that made me feel confident about taking the leap into becoming an author.
All right. Thank you very much for sharing that with us, Kay. So I'd like to know, how did you find the strength to pick up a pen instead of giving up in your, moments of trials and challenges?
I've always had a passion for storytelling. And
Oh, yeah.
Hollywood is a format of storytelling, right? But with the rejection that you mentioned in the intro, I'd have what they call a first and last, which means that the studio got to see your scripts first. And if they didn't pick it up, you could shop it elsewhere. And if someone else picked it up, then they get to see it again as the last. They would look at my scripts and say they're great stories, but leading highly intelligent female action figures are not marketable. And I don't believe that for a second. I don't. I just think you haven't marketed them the same way you market the other films. And so I decided to take the leap and write my first novel, which was called Desperate Tombs. And that one won 4 awards, including Book of the Year from Online Book Club. And I knew at that moment that I was on the path that I wanted to be on. And knowing that this time when I took the leap, it was my choice. It was my choice to leave that environment, to, step out on my own, to trust myself and to go forward. And I know every author or anybody trying something new, there's a fear behind it in the sense of, especially if you're a creative, will other people like it? And I think that stops a lot of people. And in all truth, I felt that maybe one person out there will like it. I didn't expect 4 awards. Believe me, I did not expect 4 awards. It was my first fiction book. And I went ahead and forged forward, just reminding myself I'm enjoying what I'm doing. I'm enjoying writing. And hopefully people will enjoy reading it, which turned out to be the case. So you have to put those negative thoughts away and surround yourself with positive people who will support you in your efforts.
Okay, that was a really amazing response. Okay, so you were told for years that female-centric stories don't sell. So when you published your first novel and it started winning awards, so did you feel the sense of vindication, or was it more of a feeling of relief that you hadn't been crazy at all those years?
Yeah. I'm gonna go for the latter. Yeah, that I was on the right track, that I am not crazy, that there are women out there. All the women I know are highly intelligent go-getters, and you don't want to, mess with them, or, they will do what it takes to get where they wanna go, and I knew that there was an audience out there for that. I know that's the kind of book I like to read, so I write what I like to read. And Vindication, some cultures, like Hollywood, is a slow-moving, changing culture. It's hard to change. As women get paid equal amounts of money in the fields, they can start their own production companies and then make their own movies and market them. So that is part of what we've been fighting for in the industry as women. And now, I'm on my 15th book, and everybody says that reads them that they love my books. They love the fact that they learn from my books, and that they, once they put the book down, they can't forget about the book. So those are compliments to me. If they get made into movies or something, who knows? But as long as my readers enjoy them and I enjoy writing them, then that's what's going to happen.
Hmm. Okay, so in Nollywood, you have to fight gatekeepers at every turn. In novel writing, you are you're like the god of your own universe. So
Yeah.
what was that freedom terrifying at first? Did you struggle to trust your own voice without a studio note telling you what to do?
No, it wasn't fearful. I think I had been in Hollywood long enough and have been a creative long enough to trust myself, to know what I like, and hopefully someone else will like it. And I tend to find that that's very true, and that's true for everybody. If there's something that you really, really love, you really love to paint, or you're going to find people who love what you do. And it was freeing. It was very freeing to have total creative control, because there's no politics involved in it. There's no financial, in the sense of we need to make, X number of dollars. I can publish a book, and if it doesn't sell, it doesn't sell. It's not, I haven't had that experience, but, if that is the case, that's the case. And I don't really have to worry about it. I don't have to meet other people's expectations. So it's very freeing.
All right, Kay. So you've said that surviving cancer gave you a renewed purpose. So how did facing your own mortality change the way you write characters? So do you think you write deeper, more resilient women now because you had to become one?
That's a great question. Yeah, you'll find a little bit of me in all my leading characters. That is for sure. When you go through something like that, like I said, it changes your priority. It changes how you look at life, how
Hmm.
you address things. And that is definitely seen throughout my storyline.
All right. So your book, The Road to Elysium, deals with a man shattered by tragedy who finds purpose again. So, is his journey a mirror of your own emotional recovery? Did writing his healing help you process your own?
It was a story I felt had to be told. So it was a news blurb on TV. One of those at the end of a newscast where they have, the 2-minute uplifting story. And it is inspired by a true story. I went online to find out more about it and couldn't find anything, hardly. Just a couple of paragraphs about what had taken place. And I thought, well, the story has to be told. It's resilience, it's hope, it's fighting to be a better person. And even though the main character, which happens to be male in this particular book,
Yeah.
not in most of my books, it's female, goes through a lot of stuff, so does the young boy he starts to mentor, so does the woman he starts having a relationship with. They
Mm.
all go through stuff and they're all fighting. And it is that bond of supporting one another and hope and learning, keeping your mind open and learning this. None of us are perfect, even till the end, right? And there's things that we can learn, and that is the message in that book.
All right, all right. So, okay, for the listener right now who has just been told no by a gatekeeper, so whether it's a boss, a publisher, or maybe an investor, and they feel like their dream is dead. So, what's the first step they can take today to build their own door instead of waiting for one to open?
You start walking, you start doing what you need to do. I have on my website for free, I don't even need your email, you can just go on there for free, and it talks about how to pursue your writing, how to pursue, if you're a up and coming author, what to take, what steps to take, and that is to take those small steps. I started by writing novellas, and novellas are smaller novels, and well-known novelists write novellas. I didn't know that at the time, but I thought I'd take a smaller bite, try a little something, and see what I would get, and from there, I merged them together and made my first book. But starting off small, doing something every day to meet your passion. For writers, it's write for 15 minutes a day. If it's a painter, paint for 15 minutes a day. If it's something else, learn it. Do something fun. Learn it in a fun way. I take on, I like learning something new every year, and I like to find a fun way to learn, something that interests me. So that I am interested in doing it and making sure that I set up time to do it. For writers, I always say, make sure you have a nice desk, put a plant there, whatever you like. If you want to look out a window, my desk faces a window, and make it comfortable, and then start doing a little bit at a time. Don't don't take on the whole thing at one time because you'll get overwhelmed. But, start taking it on. And even if you write for only 15 minutes a day, you're writing. And people don't call themselves authors until they have published. What I learned during my cancer is you start calling yourself a cancer survivor the day you get diagnosed with cancer. I don't care what you have, you're a survivor. And you start thinking that way. So, same thing with a painter. If you're just starting to paint, you are a painter because you're painting. If you are a writer even though you haven't started publishing, but you're writing. So I know people try to say, well, I'm going to try to be a writer and I'm doing this story. Well, you're writing now and you're a writer. What I say to people that I'm talking to who hate public speech, anytime you're out in the public and you're speaking, that's public speech. So we have to reframe our minds on how we think about things. And you should do that to make sure that you're following what you want to do.
All right. So, Kay, I have a personal question for you. So,
Yes.
after fighting through the Hollywood machine, surviving cancer, and I like to know, like, generally, what does being successful truly mean to you now? Okay.
To me, success has always meant doing what makes me happy. It is, I've never wanted fame. I've seen what fame can do to people. I can see what money does to people, but it is being happy, doing something that makes me happy and the people around me happy. And I am, as far as I'm concerned, even though I've won awards and Fiction Author of the Year and in Who's Who in America now, my success is when I'm writing and I'm happy and I'm excited about every book that comes out. I have a new one coming out after the new year. And this is like, your little project, your little baby. And that is what I truly think success is doing what makes you happy.
Great response, dear Kay. So, lastly, for our listeners who want to read your book and connect with you or follow you, so where is the best place for them to go, Kay?
They can go to my website, which is my name, which you can see on the screen there, Kaya Oliver, Oliver.com. And my books are on Amazon as well. But make sure you have the A because there's other writers out there. K.A. Oliver.
Great. Okay. This has been such an empowering conversation about reclaiming our stories. I am very excited to have you on the show today.
Thank you. I've just enjoyed speaking with you. And we all need to do everything we do with the intent of love. You do that, you can't go wrong.